Practice is underway here, and we're seeing some early times coming in, but Neil Constable Barry is yet to set a lap with 36 minutes remaining. Martin Mall still hasn't registered a time either. 35 minutes and 53 seconds left on the clock for this session. Jimmy Lindo also yet to set a time. 35 minutes and 21 seconds still on the clock.
Sometimes you just want to take a moment, warm the tires, check the balance before committing to a fast lap.
Nigel Walters is another driver we're waiting to see a time from. Less than 35 minutes left in this practice session. Martin Moll still hasn't put a time on the board here. That clock is ticking down. John Buntakis is another driver we're yet to see a time from as the session continues. Still no time from Nigel Walters. The pressure will be building as this practice session winds down. Jody Fannin has also not registered a time yet. 32 minutes and 51 seconds remaining. James Garvock sets a respectable 2:04.320, putting him into second position on the leaderboard. Aidan McKenna is another driver we're still waiting on a lap time from, just over 31 minutes remaining. Jody Fannin still hasn't registered a time here, with barely 30 minutes left in this practice session.
You've got to wonder if they're having some kind of issue, or just being very cautious with their preparations.
Adam Tyus is another driver yet to put a time on the board here, ticking just over 30 minutes left.
Every moment counts in practice, especially as you get towards the end of the session. You want to be dialed in.
Maximilian Turbin punches in a blistering 159.706, putting him firmly into the top spot. Still no time from Adam Tyus. He must be getting anxious out there now. Rich Snape has also yet to register a lap time. The clock continues to count down. Adam Tyus finally gets a time on the board. A 159.785 slots him into third position.
That's a strong first flying lap. Straight into the top three. He's clearly found his rhythm quickly.
Neil Constable-Berry registers a 2:04.509, putting him into 6th place on the leaderboard. Nigel Walters gets a time on the board too. 2:01.522 places him in 5th for now. Neil Constable-Berry holds 7th with that 2:04.509, but he'll be looking for more pace. Josh Mitchell is another driver who still hasn't registered a time, nearly 26 minutes on the clock. James Garvach now in 8th position, that 2:04.320, having been bettered by a few other drivers.
He'll need to find some more pace soon if he wants to stay competitive for the qualifying spots.
Rich Snake finally gets his lap in at 2:01.394, placing him in 6th position.
A good, clean lap from him. He's straight into the hunt, no messing around.
Jody Fannin still without a time. The clock showing 24 minutes and 19 seconds remaining. John Boonteke's also yet to put a time on the board. The seconds are really ticking away now.
You start to feel that pressure building in the cockpit, knowing you need to get a good lap in.
Nigel Walters improves slightly to a 2:01.510, but he drops to 8th position as others find pace.
It's a constantly moving target out there. You set a good lap, then someone else goes faster.
John Bonticus finally logs a time, a strong 2:00.765, putting him into 5th place.
That's a very solid first effort from Bounticase, straight into a competitive position.
Sam Zero records a 2:04.633, which currently places him in 14th position. Adam Tyus still holding on to 3rd with his 1:59.785, a strong showing so far. Josh Mitchell finally puts a time on the board, a 2:01.691, placing him 10th for now. Aiden McKenna logs a 2:05.386, which puts him into 16th position. James Garvach improves his time to a 2:03.972, but it only moves him up to 14th.
It's marginal gains at this point, but he'll be looking for a bigger jump if he wants to challenge.
Neil Constable-Berry improves his time slightly, a 2:04.278, but drops to 16th as the field gets faster.
This is the tricky part of practice. You can improve your own lap, but still fall down the order.
Josh Mitchell holds 12th position with his 2:01.691, but other drivers are finding speed. Aiden McKenna shaves a bit off his time, 2:04.523, but it's not enough to lift him from 18th. Jareth Hallam clocks a 2:00.903, putting him comfortably into 9th position.
He's finding some pace there. A good solid lap to get himself well inside the top 10.
Phil Bodkin with a strong 2:00.640, launching him into 7th place on the leaderboard.
That's an impressive run, showing he means business for this session.
Rich Snape improves his time, a 2:00.905, but he drops to 10th as others are faster.
It's relentless out there. You have to keep pushing to hold your ground.
Martin Moll with a fantastic 1:59.625 that puts him into 2nd position, just shy of Turbin. Josh Mitchell is now 13th. His 2:01.691, still the best he's managed so far. Aidan McKenna remains in 18th place with 14 minutes and 42 seconds left in the session. And what a lap from Jimmy Lindo, a 1:59.371. He rockets to the top of the leaderboard.
That's an incredible time, really laying down a marker for the rest of the field. A very composed lap.
Phil Bodkin improves marginally to a 2:00.593, but he drops to 8th position as others climb. Gareth Hallam clocks a 2:00.082, pushing him up to 6th place, just outside the sub-2 minute mark.
He's really putting in the effort, inching closer to that 2-minute barrier.
Joel Lemrich records a 2:01.629, which places him in 12th position. Aidan McKenna remains in 18th place, still searching for more pace in this session. Josh Mitchell is still in 13th, his best time holding at 2:01.691.
He needs to dig deep and find something extra in these final minutes.
Joel Limerick holds 12th position with his 2:01.629, but time is running out to improve.
He's still in a decent spot, but everyone will be pushing hard now to make their mark.
Phil Bodkin is still in 8th, his 2:00.593 keeping him competitive as we approach the final 11 minutes.
He's definitely in the mix, but I imagine he'll be trying to get into the 150s before the flag.
Rich Snape holds 10th position as we near the final 10 minutes of practice, his best lap at 2:00.905. David Constable Barry is yet to set a lap time with just over 10 minutes left on the clock. Adam Tias is currently in fourth, his 1:59.785, still a very respectable time. Jareth Hallam is holding strong in sixth, just a fraction over the 2-minute mark with his 2:00.082.
That SUV 2-minute lap is a real benchmark. He'll be pushing for it in these last few laps.
Nigel Walters improves his time to a 2:01.256, but he's dropped to 11th position. David Constable-Berry gets a time on the board, a 2:00.634, slotting him into 10th place. Jody Fannin finally sets a time, and it's a quick one. A 1:59.839 puts him into 5th position.
He clearly had a plan, waiting for the track to rubber in or traffic to clear. A very impressive start.
Darren Nickel is another driver who still hasn't registered a time, less than 7 minutes to go.
This is cutting it fine. You really want to get a read on the car before the end of practice.
David Constable-Berry still holding on to 10th with his 2:00.634, but that position is vulnerable.
He'll be pushing hard for another lap, trying to improve his position before the checkered flag.
Daniel Kosas has yet to set a time, and we're down to the final 5 minutes and 49 seconds.
This is getting extremely late in the session. He'll have to put a flyer in right away.
Jareth Hallam now in 7th, his 2:00.082, having slipped a spot as other drivers improve.
He needs to find that extra tenth or two to get into that top tier of times.
James Garvok improves to 2:02.675, but he's down in 17th position now. Rich Snape improves to a 2 o'clock .627, moving him back up into 10th place.
He's really working to stay in contention, finding those precious hundredths of a second.
Jimmy Lindo is now in second, his 1:59.371, having been beaten by someone else just moments ago. Daniel Coaches finally puts a time on the board, a 2:03.025, but that only puts him in 20th.
He's got a lot of work to do, but at least he's registered a lap now.
Neil Constable Barry improves to a 2:02.208, moving up to 18th position. Rich Snape continues to find pace. A 2 o'clock .457 elevates him to 9th.
He's really extracting everything from that car in these closing stages.
Chris Stokes registers a 2:03.069, putting him into 21st position with less than 2 minutes remaining.
He'll be hoping for one more clean lap to try and improve on that.
Jimmy Lindo is now third. His earlier leading time still very strong, but others have edged ahead. Joel Lemrich improves to a 2:01.083, but he's dropped down to 16th position now as the field condenses. Aiden McKenna logs a 2:03.641, but it's only good enough for 22nd with just 8 seconds left in the session.
That's the last gasp for him. You're just hoping to get a final read on the car for tomorrow.
Jody Fannin improves to a 1:59.453, moving him into 4th as the clock winds down. Joe Lemerick is holding 16th position with his 2:01.083 as the session ticks into its final minute.
He's got to decide now if he pushes for one last quick lap or just brings it home clean.
Jody Fannin has improved his time to a 1:59.453, placing him in 4th as the session nears its end.
That's a very solid time from him, putting him firmly in contention for the sharp end of the grid.
Dominic Fovargu still hasn't registered a time, and with 4 minutes and 21 seconds left, the clock is certainly ticking.
You really feel that pressure building in the cockpit, trying to find clear air and string together that perfect lap before time runs out.
Now it's John Astrop with no time on the board yet, just under 4 minutes remaining in this session.
It's always a gamble waiting this long. You want the track to rubber in, but you risk traffic or an incident before you can get your run in.
Darren Nichols still without a registered time, just over 3 minutes to go now in this qualification session.
Two minutes and 45 seconds left. Jareth Hallam still needs to post a time. Every second counts out there now.
Just 38 seconds remaining on the clock, and Neil Constable-Berry still hasn't put in a qualifying lap.
This is it. One last desperate dash. You're trying to find pace while also battling the mental clock ticking down. It's a huge ask.
Daniel Coaches is P8 with 2:02.780, and he's currently 100th of a second up on his best time with just 24 seconds left.
This is where you dig deep. You know it's your last chance. You're pushing absolutely everything, trying to find that fraction of a second when it matters most.
Jimmy Lindo, P2, and he's currently a 10th up on his best time of 2:00.466 with just 8 seconds remaining.
This is maximum attack. You're squeezing every ounce out of the car, knowing this could be the lap that puts you on pole. The adrenaline is through the roof.
Neil Constable-Berry has popped up into P17 with a 2:02.168, and crucially, he's almost a second up on that time right now with just 81 seconds left. Maximilian Turbin in P11 with a 2:01.276, but he is absolutely flying right now, over 1.3 seconds up on that time with 93 seconds left.
That's a huge delta. He's really found something on this lap. It suggests he's either dialed in the car or is on much fresher tires for this run.
James Garvach, currently P22 with a 2:05.458, but he's almost 2.5 seconds up on that time right now with just under 2 minutes to go.
A delta that big means either he made a significant error on his previous run, or he's found a huge chunk of time in the setup. This could be a game changer for him.
Martin Moll, the Dutchman, starts from pole position today in his Chevrolet Copa Montana. Lining up alongside him, it's Thomas Kruger Dorado from the UK in another Chevrolet Copa Montana. And starting from third, it's Jody Fannin, also in a Chevrolet Copa Montana. Chris Stokes, another pro-class driver from England, starts just behind them in fourth.
Fourth place is still a strong starting point, especially with the identical machinery.
Maximilian Turbin, an AM-class driver, rounds out the top five, also in a Chevrolet.
For an AM driver to be starting in the top 5, that's impressive consistency in qualifying.
Right behind Turbin, we have Adam Tyus, another AM-class driver, starting in sixth. Seventh on the grid is Jimmy Lindo, a Pro-Am driver in his Chevrolet Copa Montana.
Mid-pack like this can be chaotic on the first lap. You need to be smart and protect your car.
Jareth Hallam, also from the UK, starts in eighth, another Pro-Am driver.
This whole field is so tightly packed in qualifying, it really bodes well for a close race.
Nigel Walters, an AM-class driver, will start from ninth position. And completing our top 10 starters, it's John Astrop from New Zealand, a pro-class driver. Just outside the top 10, in 11th, we find David Constable-Berry, a Pro-Am driver. And in 12th, Neil Constable-Berry, an AM-class driver in another Chevrolet Copa Montana. Starting from 13th on the grid is a tough ask for Phil Bodkin, but they're up for the challenge.
Where can Phil finish today?
Phil Bodkin starts from 13th position today.
He'll be looking to make up places, especially with several AM drivers ahead of him.
And Rich Snape from the UK starts in 14th, another AM-class driver.
It's a really competitive AM field out there today. Consistency will be key for them.
From 15th, we have Joel Lemrich from the Netherlands. Dominic Fovarg, a Pro-Am driver, starts in 16th.
He's got his work cut out for him, but a good start could see him climb quickly.
Josh Mitchell from Italy starts in 17th place. From 18th, it's John Bontakis from Greece.
Back here, you really need to pick your spots carefully to avoid any early race incidents.
And the lights are out. We are underway. Jody Fannin holding firm in third position as they navigate the opening corners. Fenech still in third, maintaining his starting position.
That's smart driving, not taking too many risks early on, and letting the front two battle. Chris Stokes also holds his place, running in fourth. Stokes seems to be settling into his rhythm in fourth. He'll be watching Fannin very closely, waiting for any opportunity to challenge.
A slight drop for Maximilian Turbin, down one spot to sixth. Turbin now in sixth. A tough start for the AM driver.
Losing a spot on the first lap isn't ideal, but there's plenty of racing left.
Huge moves at the back. Daniel Kosick has climbed 5 places already, now up to 16th.
That's what you want on lap 1, being aggressive but clean. I've had races won and lost on the opening lap.
And Costa continues his charge up to 15th now, closing in on John Bontakis, who is just 7/10 ahead in 13th. Sam Zero is currently running in 19th, with Jareth Hallam right on their tail, only 2/10 separating them. Sam Zero maintains that slim 2/10 advantage over Jareth Hallam, still in 19th.
When you're running that close, every millisecond counts. You're constantly checking your mirrors for any attack.
Now focusing on Jareth Hallam, running in 20th, just 3/10 behind Sam Zero. Hallam continues to stalk Sam Zero, still holding that 3/10 gap in 20th.
It's like a game of cat and mouse now. Hallam will be looking for any mistake from Zero.
We've certainly seen some intense battles already, particularly mid-pack, which is where a lot of the action seems to be heating up.
Those early laps are crucial. You're trying to gain positions without risking an incident, especially when the tires are still coming up to temperature.
It's fascinating to watch how some drivers are so patient, biding their time, while others make immediate, bold moves.
Absolutely. When I was racing, sometimes the best move was no move, just waiting for the car ahead to make a mistake. Conserving tires, looking for that opening.
The mix of Pro-Am, and Am drivers certainly adds another layer to the strategy, doesn't it?
It does. An Am driver might be defending harder than a pro who's looking at the bigger picture for points, or vice versa. Every driver has a different objective.
Martin Mole, starting from pole, has dropped to 3rd position, now just 4/10 behind Jody Fannin for 2nd. Mole is still in 3rd. The gap to Fannin for 2nd has now extended to half a second.
He's definitely lost some ground, but he's a pro driver. He'll be digging deep to regain that pace and challenge for the lead.
Thomas Kruger Dorado has headed into the pits from 10th position.
That's an early stop, only on lap 2. Could be damage or a very aggressive strategy call.
Phil Bodkin is running in 13th, just 3/10 behind John Bontakis for 12th. Bodkin still in 13th. The gap to Bontakis now 4/10.
He's keeping the pressure on. Those small margins can really open up an overtaking opportunity if the car ahead makes a slight error.
Martin Mole is closing on Jody Fannin for 2nd. The gap now down to just 2/10.
This is it. Mole is showing his pace now. Fannin needs to be absolutely perfect through these next corners.
Martin Mole has made the move and is now in 2nd place, pushing Fannin back to 3rd. John Bontakis is now running in 12th, 4/10 behind Phil Bodkin in 11th. A significant drop for Bontakis, now down to 14th, with Phil Bodkin now behind him by half a second.
He's lost a couple of spots there. It's so easy to get caught out in the traffic when the pack is this close.
More positions lost for Bontakis, now down to 17th, almost a second ahead of Phil Bodkin.
This is tough for him. It's hard to recover once you start losing momentum and positions like this. You have to find that clear air.
Jareth Hallam is now in 14th, looking to close the 4/10 gap to Nigel Walters in 13th. Hallam closes up another 10th on Walters, the gap now just 3/10.
He's definitely making progress. That kind of pressure can really force a defensive error.
Nigel Walters is in 13th, just 2/10 behind James Garvick in 12th. Walters is still glued to the back of Garvik. That 2/10 gap remains. We're seeing some real ebb and flow in this race. Mall's recovery from third back to second shows the quality at the front.
Absolutely. Losing a position early can be disheartening, but knowing you have the pace to get it back, that's what defines a top driver.
And that early pit stop for Thomas Gruber-Dorado from 10th place really threw a curveball into the Pro-Am battle.
It's always a gamble so early. You wonder if it's an issue or a daring strategy to try and undercut the field. Either way, it demands a different mindset.
The battles from 10th back to 20th are just relentless. Every single position hotly contested.
This is where the race is really won or lost for so many drivers. Keeping focused, not getting frustrated, just trying to find that clean air for a consistent lap time.
David Constable-Berry, running in fourth, is right on the tail of Jody Fannin for third, just 2/10 separating them.
This is an incredible run from Constable-Berry, from 11th on the grid to challenging for a podium spot.
Jody Fannin is now leading the race, an incredible comeback, 15.5 seconds ahead of Chris Stokes. And just as quickly, Fannin has dropped to second neck and neck with Chris Stokes, who now leads. Jody Fannin has fallen further back, now in third, 4.7 seconds behind leader Chris Stokes. Adam Tyus is in 10th place, right behind Joel Lemrick, with just 2/10 separating them. The gap between Tyus and Lemrick has stretched to 6/10, with Tyus still in 10th. Adam Tyus has gained a position now in 9th, still 6/10 behind Lemrick for 8th. Martin Mol is charging hard, just 3/10 behind race leader Chris Stokes.
This is Mola's moment to reclaim the lead. He's got the pace, now he needs to find the spot.
Mol is still applying relentless pressure on Stokes, the gap holding at 3/10. The lead battle between Stokes and Mol is absolutely electrifying right now. 3/10 is nothing on this circuit.
It's about nerve and precision at this point. One small twitch of the wheel, one late break, and everything can change.
And what about David Constable-Berry's climb? 11th to 4th. That's a phenomenal drive so far.
That's racecraft. Knowing when to push, when to hold back. He's clearly found a rhythm and is capitalizing on others' battles.
We're just over the halfway mark in terms of time. Still plenty of laps for strategy and overtakes.
Exactly. Tire degradation will start to play a bigger role now, and that's when the real strategists come to the fore. I always loved this part of a race, knowing you could gain an advantage if you managed your tires well.
Sam Zero is in 13th, only 3/10 behind James Garvach in 12th. The gap between Sam Zero and Garvach has grown slightly, now 5/10. It's interesting to see how these gaps fluctuate. Just a few tenths can feel like a mile or nothing at all.
It's all about consistency in those middle sectors. A tiny error in one corner can cost you that precious tenth you've been fighting for over a whole lap.
We're seeing a lot of drivers trying to keep their tires fresh for a late race push.
That's where experience comes in. You learn the balance between pushing hard and conserving the car. It's a fine line, especially on a track like this.
Any thoughts on who's looking strong for a podium finish, based on what you've seen so far?
Mol is definitely a contender. Even after dropping back, his recovery shows he has the speed. And Constable-Berry's climb is fantastic. He's one to watch for sure.
Maximilian Turbin is now up to 4th, just 3/10 behind David Constable-Berry for a podium spot. Turbin closes up another 10th on Constable-Berry. That gap now just 2/10. Turbin's charge has been impressive, especially for an AM driver, now knocking on the door of the podium.
He's definitely defying expectations today. Sometimes having less pressure can free you up to drive like that. He's found incredible pace.
It makes you wonder about the overall class battles now. The AM drivers are really showing they can mix it with the pros.
The equipment being identical helps, but ultimately, it comes down to driver skill and race management. He's clearly got both.
We're entering the final third of the race time-wise, so pit strategies, if any, will have played out or are about to.
Yes, and tire wear is going to be critical now. This is where drivers who have been kind to their tires might find an extra gear.
Sam Zero is in a tight battle for 14th, just a 10th behind Phil Bodkin.
This is exactly the kind of close-quarters racing that really tests a driver's nerve and precision.
Sam Zero has made the pass, now into 14th, 2/10 ahead of Bodkin.
Great move. Sometimes you have to commit early to that overtake, showing the other driver you're serious.
Maximilian Turbin is still chasing the podium, in fourth, 6/10 behind Constable Barry.
He's had a fantastic drive regardless, really pushing those Pro-Am and Pro drivers hard.
The gap to Constable Barry is open to 7/10 now for Turbin. Martin Moll is still within 2/10 of Chris Stokes for the lead.
This battle for first is just captivating. Neither driver is giving an inch. This is proper wheel-to-wheel racing.
Moll is holding the gap, relentlessly pursuing Stokes for the lead.
He's just waiting for that perfect moment, that slight mistake. He's got to be patient, but ready to pounce.
John Bontegis is in 16th, closing in on James Garvach, just 3/10 separating them. Bontegis has closed the gap even further, now only 2/10 behind Garvach. John Boontakis makes the overtake. He's into 15th, side by side with Garvach. Maximilian Turbin has closed the gap to Constable Barry to 3/10 in their battle for third.
This is a real testament to Turbin's focus. He clearly wants that podium, and he's not letting up.
Turbin now 5/10 behind Constable Barry. The gap widens slightly.
Constable Barry is managing the pressure well. Holding off a quick driver like Turbin requires absolute concentration.
Moll remains just 2/10 off the lead of Chris Stokes.
This is going right down to the wire at the front. It's a proper dogfight for the win.
Martin Moll takes the lead. What a move. He's now side by side with Stokes. Stokes fights back. Moll is now in second, trailing by 2/10 again. Maximilian Turbin continues to press David Constable Barry for third, the gap half a second.
He put in a flying lap there, nearly a second faster than his previous best. He's not giving up.
Turbin has closed right up to Constable Barry. Just 3/10 separate them for third.
This is exactly the kind of battle you want to see for a podium spot in the closing stages. He's found something extra.
David Constable Barry has made a fantastic move. Now in third, just 3/10 behind Chris Stokes for second. The gap from Constable Barry to Stokes in second has grown to 4/10. Nigel Walters is in 17th, trying to close the 3/10 gap to James Garvach. Nigel Walters has gained a spot, now in 16th, neck and neck with James Garvach. This race just keeps on giving. We've seen so many position changes at the front, it's impossible to predict a winner.
That's the beauty of it. The drivers are pushing the absolute limit, knowing every hundredth of a second matters in these final minutes.
And Maximilian Turbin, what a drive for the AM-class driver, still very much in contention for that podium.
It's incredible. He's showing the consistency and aggression you need. Sometimes you find an extra gear when you're smelling a podium for the first time.
With just minutes left, it's all about holding your nerve and hitting those marks perfectly.
Absolutely. Tiredness can start to creep in, and that's when mistakes happen. The drivers with the best focus will come out on top.
Dominic Fovarg is in 6th, half a second behind John Astrop for 5th place.
Fovarg is putting in some strong lap times now. He'll be hoping Astrop makes a small error to capitalize.
Fovarg maintains that half-second gap to Astrop in 5th. That battle for 5th between Fovarg and Astrop is just another example of how competitive this field is, even outside the podium spots.
Every point matters, and you can see that commitment from every driver out there. You're not just racing the car ahead, you're racing for your championship hopes.
We're very close to hearing the call for the final lap now. This is where everyone pushes to the absolute limit.
This is where experience really kicks in. You know where your car is strong and where you might be vulnerable. It's all about making that one decisive move.
The lead has been swapped so many times, it's truly been a thrilling race.
And it's not over yet. Until they cross that line, anything can still happen. I've won and lost races on the very last corner.
Chris Stokes has dropped to 5th, and he's now side by side with Dominic Fovarg in 4th.
Stokes is really losing ground here in these closing stages. This is a dramatic drop for the former leader.
Nigel Walters has pulled a 3.2-second gap over James Garvok, holding 16th position.
He's finally found some clear air and is managing to pull away. That's crucial in these final moments.
A big swing there. Walters has dropped to 17th, now a second behind Garvok.
That's a quick reversal of fortunes. Something must have happened for him to lose that ground so rapidly.
Dominic Fovarg is now in 4th, half a second behind John Astrop in 3rd. Fovarg is still in 4th, but the gap to Astrop has opened slightly to 7/10.
Astrop is really digging deep to hold onto that podium spot, knowing Fovarg is right there.
James Garvok is in 17th, half a second behind Nigel Walters in 16th. The gap between Garvok and Walters has increased to 1.3 seconds.
He's definitely losing touch with that group now. It's difficult to regain that momentum once you've been dropped.
The lead battle continues to evolve, and the podium places are far from settled, even with just a few laps left.
This is where the mental game truly comes into play. You've got to be physically exhausted, but mentally, you need to be sharper than ever.
Chris Stokes, who is leading, has now dropped out of the top 3 entirely. What a turnaround for him.
It's a cruel sport sometimes. One misjudgment, one lapse in concentration, and you can tumble down the order quickly. I've had that happen to me many times.
And Dominic Fovarg is making a late charge for the podium, currently in 4th.
He's absolutely flying. If he can maintain that pace and pressure, he could snatch a surprise result here. This is why we race until the very end.
Joel Lemmerich is in 11th, half a second behind Neil Constable Barry for 10th. Lemmerich has dropped a place to 12th, now 8/10 behind Neil Constable Barry. The closing laps are proving to be just as exciting as the start, with positions changing right throughout the field.
Every driver is fighting for every position. It's not just the win, it's about maximizing points for the championship.
That drop for Lemmerich shows how unforgiving this track can be in the final stages.
One small mistake, and the car behind is ready to pounce. It's a game of inches at this level of racing.
We must be nearing the white flag now, signaling the final lap of the race.
This is it. Every driver is going to give it absolutely everything they have left in the tank. No holding back now.
Thomas Kruger Dorado, after that early pit stop, is now in 11th, 4/10 behind Neil Constable Barry. Kruger Dorado has made the pass. He's into 10th, side by side with Neil Constable Barry. Kruger Dorado's recovery is truly impressive. Considering that early pit stop, he's really fought his way back through the field.
That early gamble has paid off. It takes a brave team and a confident driver to make a call like that. He's clearly found his rhythm and the pace.
It's those kinds of strategic moves that can completely change the dynamic of a race, even from deep in the pack.
Exactly. It's not always about being the fastest car, it's about being the smartest. My team and I used to spend hours analyzing every possible pit window and tire strategy.
We're certainly nearing the final stages. The checkered flag is within sight for the leaders.
This is where legends are made. Every driver will be giving it everything. No energy saved, no risks untaken.
Adam Tyus is in 7th, 3/10 behind Chris Stokes for 6th position.
Tyus just put in his best lap of the race. He's absolutely flying in these closing stages.
Martin Mull is cruising towards victory. A massive 8.4-second lead over Maximilian Turbin.
What a dominant performance from Mull, absolutely in a league of his own out there now.
Martin Mull crosses the line. He wins the race. An incredible performance from pole position.
A well-deserved victory. He controlled that race brilliantly, showing exactly why he's a pro-class driver.
Maximilian Turbin comes home in second. What an amazing result for the AM class driver.
From 5th to 2nd, that's an absolutely outstanding drive. He proved today he can run with the best.
John Astrup crosses the line in 3rd, claiming the final podium spot. Dominic Fovard takes 4th, Rich Snape 5th, Chris Stokes finishes 6th, and Adam Tyus secures 7th. 8th goes to Jareth Howell. David Constable-Berry finishes 9th. Thomas Kruger-Dorado in 10th, and Neil Constable-Berry in 11th. Joel Lemrich crosses in 12th, Phil Bodkin in 13th, and Jody Fannin, who led earlier, finishes 20th.
Fannin had a tough second half of the race after such a promising start. That's the brutal reality of motor racing.
John Buntakis finishes in 14th, with Sam Zero taking 15th.
Every position fought for, every point earned. It was a really hard-fought race all the way through the field.
Nigel Walters crosses the line for 16th position.
He had some great battles out there today, showing that AM drivers can really hold their own.
James Garvach takes 17th position. Jimmy Lindo finishes 18th, and Daniel Kosick, after that strong early climb, ends up in 21st. And Josh Mitchell rounds out the finishers in 19th position.
Every driver put on a fantastic show today, a really competitive race from start to finish.
Daniel Kosick from Hungary, the Pro-Am class driver, starts from pole position in his Chevrolet Copa Montana. And alongside him, Jody Fannin, a Pro-class driver, lines up in second, also in a Chevrolet Copa Montana. Third on the grid, Josh Mitchell from Italy in another Chevrolet Copa Montana, an AM class driver.
An AM driver starting that high really puts the pressure on from the get-go. I remember those races where you'd have to manage expectations and push hard from the start.
Jimmy Lindo, a Pro-Am class driver, is in 4th spot, completing the all Chevrolet Copa Montana top 4.
4 wide going into turn 1 will be a sight. You're always looking for any advantage from P4, trying to outbrake those ahead. It's a critical launch.
From Scotland, James Garvach, an AM class driver, holds down 5th position on the grid.
An AM driver again, high up the grid. It shows the competitiveness of this field and how crucial it is to stay clean in those early laps to consolidate that position.
Sam Zero from the United Kingdom starts from 7th place in his Chevrolet Copa Montana. 8th on the grid is John Buntakis from Greece, another AM class driver in a Chevrolet Copa Montana.
From P8, you're looking for that slipstream into turn 1. It's often where you can pick up a couple of spots if the drivers ahead get tangled or defensive.
Phil Bodkin from England starts from 9th, another AM-class driver. Rounding out the top 10, Joel Lemerick from the Netherlands, also an AM-class driver. Neil Constable Barry from the United Kingdom starts from 11th position, an AM-class driver in a Chevrolet Copa Montana.
Down in P11, you're in the thick of it for the opening laps. It's about being aggressive but smart, knowing when to push and when to back off to avoid contact in the mid-pack.
Thomas Kruger Dorado, another UK driver, starts from 12th, a Pro-Am class driver.
From P12, you've got to find clear air quickly. That middle of the grid can be a real challenge to navigate. It's a test of nerve and precision in those first few corners.
Jareth Hallam from the United Kingdom lines up in 14th position, a Pro-Am class driver. Adam Tyus from England, an AM-class driver, will be starting from 15th place.
In that kind of position, you're always looking for opportunities, especially if there's any chaos ahead. It's a strategic start from that far back.
Chris Stokes from England, a pro-class driver, is down in 16th on the grid today.
A pro driver starting so far back means he's got a lot of work to do. He'll be trying to make up positions early, but he'll have to be very careful not to get caught up in any incidents.
Rich Snape from the United Kingdom, an AM-class driver, starts from 17th. The lights are out and we are racing. Jody Fannin from second on the grid has had a brilliant start and takes the lead.
Yellow flag, safety car
Safety
out.
car deployed. We have a big incident out on track. The yellow flags are waving, the pace car is out, drivers will be looking for the scene.
This changes everything, especially so early in the race. A big incident like that can really scramble the order and strategies. You're always trying to react quickly in the cockpit, assess the situation, and decide if you need to pit, or just focus on tire temps under the safety car.
That early safety car really throws a spanner in the works for everyone, especially Jody Fannin, who just snatched the lead.
Absolutely. When that safety car comes out, your mind instantly switches. You're trying to warm the tires, keep the brakes hot, and wonder if anyone behind you has gambled on a pit stop.
It must be frustrating to lose that early lead advantage, only to bunch up the field again.
It is, but you also get a chance to compose yourself. Sometimes a safety car is a blessing if you were pushing too hard. I've been in races where it saved my tires from overheating or allowed me to catch my breath.
It really shows how quickly fortunes can change in motor racing.
It's the unpredictable nature of the sport. Every lap brings a new challenge, and every incident reshapes the entire race. It's a mental game as much as a physical one.
And we have another safety car. A significant incident has brought out the yellows once more. This is a major shakeup again, with the field bunching up under the pace car.
This early in the race, a second safety car changes the dynamic completely. You're thinking about tire wear, fuel, and whether to pit or not. It's a huge strategic call. In the cockpit, you're constantly evaluating. It's about staying calm, looking for openings, and preparing for what could be a frantic restart. Sometimes you just have to adapt on the fly.
Two safety cars so early in the race, that's incredibly rare. The drivers must be feeling the stop-start nature of this event.
It's mentally exhausting. You get into a rhythm, then you're cooling down, then you're trying to fire everything up again for a restart. Maintaining focus is absolutely key, especially with a field this tight.
It's definitely keeping everyone on their toes, both on track and in the pit lane.
Pit wall strategy will be crucial now. Do you double stack? Do you stay out? In my experience, these are the moments where races are won or lost, not just on outright pace, but on the tactical decisions.
And for the drivers, it's about managing those cold tires on the restart.
Exactly. You're vulnerable for those first couple of corners. It's about getting the heat back into them quickly, but not overheating them, and trying to predict what the car next to you is going to do.
Unbelievable. A third safety car period has been called due to yet another big incident. This race is being absolutely dictated by these yellow flags. The field is once again neutralized. Well, it looks like we have a bit of a traffic jam on the track.
It's like rush hour out there. I mean, I know we're in a race, but can't we all just get along?
Ha ha! I don't think that's how it works. These drivers are here to win, and they'll do whatever it takes to get ahead.
I guess you're right. But wouldn't it be great if they all just stopped for a cup of tea and a chat? We could have a lovely little race reunion.
Unbelievable. We have a fourth safety car. Yet another major incident brings out the yellows. This is an extraordinary sequence of events. This race continues to be punctuated by these caution periods.
Safety car in this lap.
The safety car is pulling in now. We are going green again for the restart.
This is it, the moment of truth for all the drivers. Getting the jump, managing the cold tires, it's all on the line right now.
Neil Constable Barry has dropped back to 16th, having started from P11, with Adam Tyus right on his tail, just 6/10 behind.
This shows how challenging these restarts have been. Losing 5 spots means they're really battling in the mid-pack. Now it's about defending hard and not giving an inch.
The camera now shows Dominic Fovarg in 9th on lap 1, trying to reel in Chris Stokes, who is 8/10 ahead in 8th position.
Just starting his run, that lap time shows he's settling in. With 15 minutes left, Dominic will be pushing hard to make up ground. Every second counts on a fresh set of tires.
John Bountakis, an AM-class driver, is up to 4th on lap 1, just 4/10 behind Josh Mitchell in 3rd.
Get ready, safety car's clear.
John Bountakis is absolutely glued to the back of Josh Mitchell now, no gap at all between them.
This
Green,
is
green,
textbook
green,
pressure
let's
from
go.
Bountakis. He's showing his mirrors and looking for any opportunity. In this situation, the driver ahead is under immense stress, trying to not make any mistakes.
John Bountakis, still in 4th, has pulled out a half-second lead over Sam Zero on lap 2, posting a best lap of 3:18.818. Jimmy Lindo is down in 18th on lap 2, just 2/10 behind Jareth Hallam, having posted a 3:03.387 last lap. Jimmy Lindo has dropped another position, now in 19th, but has closed the gap to Jareth Hallam to just 1/10 of a second.
He's lost a spot, but that gap reduction means he's found some pace. He's clearly pushing hard despite dropping back, and that pressure could pay off if Hallam makes a slight error.
Dominic Fovarg is up to 7th on lap 2, now just 1/10 behind Sam Zero, with a best lap of 3:14.931.
He's making good progress, climbing 2 spots. Closing a gap like that shows focus. He's definitely looking for a move on Sam Zero.
A significant change for Dominic Fovarg, who has dropped back to 13th position. He's lost 6 places, and the gap to Sam Zero, who is still in 6th, has ballooned to 4.5 seconds.
That's a tough break, losing so many positions in such a short space of time. He must have had an issue, or perhaps got caught out during one of those restarts. It's very easy to get swamped if you're not absolutely on it.
Chris Stokes is now in 14th position on lap 2, half a second adrift of David Constable Barry in 13th. David Constable Barry is in 13th, just 2/10 behind Darren Nickel on lap 2, having clocked a 3:03.311 last time around. David Constable Barry has gained a position, now in 12th, and has closed the gap to Darren Nickel to just 1/10. David Constable Barry continues to climb, now up to 11th, and Darren Nickel has dropped to 13th, now half a second behind him. Adam Tyus is now in 10th on lap 3, just 1/10 of a second behind Sam Zero in 9th, and has just set his best lap of 2:04.942.
That's a strong lap time from an AM driver, really pushing. He's found some rhythm and is now putting serious pressure on Sam Zero, looking for a way past.
The gap between Adam Tyus in 10th and Sam Zero in 9th has stretched out to 0.8 of a second.
He's lost a little bit of ground there. That's a critical moment. As a driver, you're immediately looking at your data to see if you made a mistake or if Zero just found a burst of pace.
Jimmy Lindo is in 15th on lap 3, just 2/10 behind Darren Nickel, with a best lap of 2:06.332. Jimmy Lindo has moved up to 14th, and Darren Nickel is now directly behind him with absolutely no gap between them.
That's an excellent move. He's not only passed Nicole, but immediately broken the toe. Now he needs to defend hard, because Nickel will be looking for an instant reply.
Darren Nickel in 15th has Daniel Kosick 7/10 behind him on lap 3, having just set a 2:08.307. Darren Nickel has dropped another spot, now in 16th, and Daniel Kosick is ahead of him in 15th with a 6/10 lead.
He's definitely struggling for pace or got caught out. Losing a position and then a half-second gap indicates he's having a hard time defending or getting his rhythm back after that last battle.
Darren Nickel continues to fall back, now in 17th, with the gap to Daniel Kosick in 15th, stretching to almost 2 seconds.
This is really tough for him. Losing positions in significant time suggests he's not comfortable with the car or perhaps dealing with some damage. You're always trying to find solutions in the cockpit when that happens.
Dominic Fovarg is now in 18th, 3/10 behind Darren Nickel in 17th, with a best lap of 2:13.596.
He's really dropped down the order, from 9th to 18th. He needs to find some speed fast if he wants to make an impression in these final minutes.
Dominic Fovarg has regained a position, now in 17th, with Darren Nickel half a second behind him. What a roller coaster race this is turning out to be. We've seen drivers like Dominic Fovarg drop significantly and then start to claw their way back. It's just incredible.
It's a testament to their resilience, but also highlights how easy it is to make a mistake or get caught out in this kind of stop-start race. You have to adapt constantly. No 2 laps are the same.
The constant shuffling of positions, especially in the mid-pack, means every inch of track is being fought over.
Exactly. In a race like this, you're not just racing the car in front. You're racing the entire field, trying to anticipate who might be diving in or who's going to struggle on the next restart. I've always found these conditions the most demanding mentally.
And with just 10 minutes plus a lap remaining, every single overtake now feels absolutely critical.
It is. These are the championship-defining moments. You're pushing the car to its absolute limit, managing the tires, and trying to stay out of trouble all at once. There's no time to conserve, it's flat out.
We've also seen some strong performances from the AM-class drivers, holding their own amidst all this.
They really are. It shows that consistency and avoiding errors can sometimes trump outright pace, especially when the race pace is so broken up by safety cars. Keeping a cool head is half the battle out there.
The tire wear must be a huge factor, especially after heating and cooling so many times.
It's a delicate balance. You want to push to keep the heat in, but then you're running slowly under safety car, letting them cool. Getting them back into the optimal window on restart is critical, and a slight error can lead to a lockup or loss of grip.
It makes for a thrilling end to the race, knowing anything could still happen.
Absolutely. We're approaching the crunch time, and the smallest mistake now will be heavily penalized. Every driver is feeling the pressure to bring it home.
Jareth Hallam is holding 11th on lap 4, just 2/10 ahead of Joel Lemrick, after setting a rapid 2:04.99 best lap. Jareth Hallam has dropped to 12th, but crucially, Joel Lemrich has fallen all the way back to 18th, now 7 seconds adrift. Martin Mole is in 4th on lap 5, just 4/10 behind John Buntakis in 3rd, and has set a scorching best lap of 2:0.031.
That's an impressive lap time, really showing his intent. He's closing in rapidly on Buntakis, so we could see an overtake for that podium spot very soon.
Martin Mole continues to push. Now only 3/10 separates him from John Buntakis for 3rd.
He's relentless. That's a classic example of keeping the pressure on, just reducing that gap bit by bit, trying to force the driver ahead into a mistake.
Phil Bodkin is in 12th on lap 5, just a 10th ahead of Jareth Hallam, and has just put in a best lap of 1:59.634.
Sub 2 minutes. That's a phenomenal lap time, and he's clearly found some serious pace. He's got to manage that small gap now, as Hallam will be in his slipstream.
Phil Bodkin has gained another spot, now in 11th. Jareth Hallam has dropped back to 13th, with Bodkin now 2/10 ahead of him.
He's really on a charge now. That sub 2 minute lap clearly gave him the momentum he needed to make that move and open up a small buffer. This is how you gain positions late in a race.
Jareth Hallam is in 13th on lap 5, just a 10th behind Daniel Kosick in 12th, with a 2:02.126 last lap. Sam Zero is in 15th, now right on the bumper of Thomas Kruger Dorado for 14th, with no gap between them.
He's made up some ground here, showing that best lap earlier wasn't a fluke. This is a crucial fight for position, and he's going to be looking for any opportunity to get past Dorado.
A dramatic change for Sam Zero, who has plummeted to 17th. Thomas Kruger Dorado is now far ahead in 14th, with a massive 7.8-second lead. John Buntakis is in 5th on lap 6, just 0.3 behind Maximilian Turbin in 4th, after setting a 2:01.444 best lap.
He's lost a spot, but he's immediately on the attack. This is a crucial battle for position, and Buntakis will be looking for a way past Turbin to regain that ground.
A huge change for John Buntakis. He's dropped all the way to 11th position, with Maximilian Turbin now in 7th and nearly 6 seconds ahead. John Buntakis continues to fall, now down to 14th, with Maximilian Turbin further ahead in 8th, nearly 7 seconds up the road.
This is a real fall from grace for Buntakis, who is running in the top 4. Something has clearly gone wrong, perhaps a spin or an off-track excursion that cost him a significant amount of time and positions.
Jimmy Lindo is in 15th, just 0.2 behind John Buntakis in 14th on lap 6, with a best lap of 2:01.456.
Lindo is certainly finding his pace now, and Buntakis is still reeling from that big drop. This could be an easy overtake for Lindo if he maintains that momentum.
Jimmy Lindo has successfully made the overtake on John Buntakis, now in 14th, and has pulled out a significant 1.1-second lead. Daniel Kosick is in 12th on lap 6, 0.3 behind Jareth Hallam, having set a best lap of 2:00.667. The gap between Daniel Kosick in 12th and Jareth Hallam in 11th has stretched slightly to 0.4 of a second. Martin Mull is now up to 3rd on lap 7, just 0.3 behind Nigel Walters in 2nd, still looking for more. The gap between Martin Mull in 3rd and Nigel Walters in 2nd remains exactly 0.3.
This is an incredible fight for the podium. Mull is really pushing, matching Walters' pace. It's all about who blinks first or makes a small error in these closing stages.
Daniel Kosick is in 13th on lap 7, just 0.2 behind Thomas Kruger Dorado in 12th.
He's keeping the pressure on Dorado. That close a gap means Kosick is absolutely focused on finding a way past. I remember those battles where every corner felt like a chance to outsmart your rival.
The gap to Thomas Kruger Dorado for 12th has opened up to 1.3 seconds for Daniel Kosick in 13th. David Constable Berry is in 7th on lap 7, just 0.3 behind Adam Tyus in 6th, and has just set a 1:59.699 best lap. The gap between David Constable Berry in 7th and Adam Tyus in 6th has just stretched to 0.4 of a second.
He might have pushed a little too hard on that last corner, or Tyus has found some extra pace. Even a 10th can make a difference in trying to stay in the slipstream.
Rich Snape is in 5th on lap 7, with Adam Tyus hot on his heels, just a 10th behind in 6th. The gap between Rich Snape in 5th and Adam Tyus in 6th has increased to 0.2 of a second.
He's managed to put a fraction more space between them. That's crucial in these final laps. It gives you a little more breathing room. But Tyus will still be looking to exploit any small error.
Adam Tyus is in 6th on lap 8, just 0.2 ahead of David Constable Berry, with a best lap of 2:00.167. A big drop for Adam Tyus. He's down to 9th position, and David Constable Berry is now significantly ahead in 6th, with a 5-second lead. Adam Tyus continues to fall through the field, now down in 12th. David Constable Berry is well ahead in 6th, over 8 seconds in front.
He's really lost out here, losing multiple positions. That kind of time gap suggests a major moment, perhaps a spin or being forced wide. He'll be trying to regroup and salvage what he can from this race.
Rich Snape is in 5th on lap 8, just 2/10 behind John Astrop in 4th, still pushing hard. Rich Snape has made the overtake, now in 4th. John Astrop is immediately behind him. Absolutely no daylight between them. Chris Stokes is up to 10th on lap 8, just a 10th behind Thomas Kruger Dorado, with a best lap of 2:02.205. The gap between Chris Stokes in 10th and Thomas Kruger Dorado in 9th has now opened up to 0.6 of a second. What a late race charge we're seeing from Rich Snape, up into 4th now. He's really found his rhythm after all those earlier interruptions.
It shows the importance of staying calm and consistent. When the race is this chaotic, the drivers who can string together clean laps towards the end often make the biggest gains. I've had races where patience paid off handsomely.
On the other end, Adam Tyus has really dropped back significantly. He was running well earlier.
That's the brutal reality of these close races. One small mistake, one loss of concentration, and you can shed multiple positions instantly. It's a fine line between pushing hard and overdoing it.
With the time ticking down, every battle on track is becoming increasingly intense. It's really captivating.
Absolutely. You're constantly calculating risks versus rewards. Do you make a bold move now and risk a collision? Or do you hold back and hope for a better opportunity? It's all about split-second decisions at this stage.
David Constable-Berry is in 6th on lap 9, just a 10th behind John Astrop in 5th.
He's made up some great ground here, closing that gap right down. He's got the pace, now he just needs the opportunity, and Astrop will be defending hard.
David Constable-Berry has made the overtake for 5th place. John Astrop is now directly behind him. Absolutely no gap. What a fantastic move by David Constable-Berry, snatching 5th place in these closing stages.
That's how you do it. Timing your run perfectly, making the move stick, and then immediately trying to break the toe. It's exhilarating when you pull off an overtake like that, especially when the positions are so hard-won.
Every position is being fought for tooth and nail as we head towards the checkered flag.
The adrenaline is pumping now, for sure. You're completely focused on every breakpoint, every apex. The difference between success and failure is literally millimeters at this point.
It's incredible to think how many lead changes and position swaps we've seen despite all the safety cars.
It speaks to the competitiveness of this field. Even with all the interruptions, no one is giving up an inch. It's a true test of grit and determination out there, just like the races I used to compete in.
Maximilian Turbin is in 6th on lap 9, and John Astrop is right on his gearbox, no gap between them.
Turbin has just lost a position, but he's not letting Astrop get away. This is going to be a fierce battle for 6th, with both drivers desperate to hold or regain position.
Maximilian Turbin has dropped to 7th, with John Astrop now ahead of him. Still no gap between them. Maximilian Turbin has regained 6th position. He's pulled 3/10 clear of John Astrop, who is now in 7th. David Constable-Berry is in 5th on lap 10, now just 2/10 behind Nigel Walters in 4th.
He's on a charge. What a drive, steadily climbing the order. He's got the pace, and now he's sniffing a potential top 4 finish. Walters will have to be perfect from here.
David Constable-Berry has made the overtake for 4th position. He's just a 10th ahead of Nigel Walters, who has dropped to 5th.
Incredible! He saw the opportunity and took it. That's a huge gain, especially so late in the race. Now the challenge is to hold that spot with Walters breathing down his neck.
Daniel Kosick is in 12th on lap 10, 3/10 behind Jimmy Lindo in 11th. The gap between Daniel Kosick in 12th and Jimmy Lindo in 11th has widened to 6/10. David Constable-Berry's climb through the field has been absolutely exceptional today, up to 4th now. What a performance.
He's really found his stride in these closing laps. You can feel that momentum building when you're in the car, suddenly everything clicks, and you just start picking off cars. It's a fantastic feeling.
It's been a race of constant flux, positions changing hands so frequently, especially after all those safety car periods.
This kind of race really tests a driver's mental game. You have to be ready to adapt, to push, then cool down, then push again. It's not just about raw pace, It's about consistency under pressure.
And with just minutes left, every battle, even for mid-pack positions like Kosick and Lindo, feels incredibly important.
It is. Every point matters, and no driver wants to concede an inch, especially when the finish line is in sight. You're completely focused on not making any mistakes and maximizing your outcome.
The cumulative effect of those safety cars must have really impacted tire degradation and fuel management for everyone.
Absolutely, the tires never really settled into an optimal operating window for long. You're constantly trying to keep heat in them during the slow periods and then manage wear when it goes green. It's a huge challenge.
It makes the driver's ability to deliver those fast laps even more impressive.
It truly does. To be able to switch that focus on and off and still hit your marks with cold tires, or after a long period of reduced pace, that's what separates the good from the great drivers in these conditions.
We're seeing a true test of endurance and nerve today.
No question. This race has thrown everything at them, and it's compelling to watch how each driver is handling the pressure. It's never over until that checkered flag drops.
Jody Fannin crosses the line. A magnificent drive from second on the grid to take the victory.
What a superb performance. To start from P2 and manage all those safety cars, then bring it home first, that's a truly controlled and dominant drive. You really have to earn those wins.
And what a drive from Martin Mall. From 21st on the grid, he crosses the line in second place. Rich Snape takes third. A fantastic climb through the field from 17th on the grid. David Constable-Barry takes fourth, with Nigel Walters fifth, Maximilian Turbin in sixth, and Thomas Kruger-Dorado crossing the line in seventh. John Astrop finishes eighth, Chris Stokes in ninth, Adam Tyus takes 10th, and Jimmy Lindo crosses the line in 11th.
That mid-pack was absolutely chaotic all race, so to bring it home in those positions, especially with all the ups and downs, is a solid result for all those drivers.
Phil Bodkin crosses in 12th, Daniel Kochis 13th, Dominic Fovarg 14th, and John Buntakis finishes in 15th.
Many of those drivers had a tough race with positions fluctuating wildly, so to see them through to the end is a testament to their perseverance in difficult conditions.
Jareth Hallam finishes 16th, Sam Zero 17th, Josh Mitchell takes 18th, and Darren Nickel crosses the line in 19th. Aidan McKenna rounds out the finishers, crossing the line in 20th position.
Even finishing the race after all that chaos is an achievement. Sometimes the goal isn't just about winning. It's about seeing that checkered flag. I've had many races like that where just making it to the end was a victory in itself.
Aidan McKenna has pulled into the pits on lap 11, currently in 20th position, with 7 minutes still left on the clock.
Pulling into the pits late in the race like this, especially when you're down the order, often indicates an issue, or perhaps just looking to retire the car safely. I've been there, knowing when to call it a day to save the equipment.
Only 8 minutes and 25 seconds remain in this practice session, and James Garvok is yet to put a time on the board. Now under 8 minutes remaining, and still no lap time from Darren Nickel.
You really want to get at least one banker lap in, even if it's just to check the car's balance before qualifying.
Jimmy Lindo also yet to post a time, just over 7 minutes remaining in this crucial practice session. Nigel Walters, still without a recorded lap time as we approach the final 6 minutes and 52 seconds of practice.
It's always a tough call. Do you push hard for a time or prioritize understanding the track? It's a fine line in a short session like this.
Time really ticking away now for Jimmy Lindo. Still no time on the board with just 6 minutes 20 remaining. And Daniel Cochas also finds himself in the same boat. No lap time posted with under 6 minutes to go.
You start to feel the pressure in these situations. Every second on track counts, especially if you're trying to validate setup changes.
James Garvok still waiting to see a time appear for him on the screens. And there it is. Jimmy Lindo finally gets a time on the board. A 1:59.826 puts him into second position.
Good to see him out there now. That first lap is always about getting a feel, then you can start pushing for real pace.
Nigel Walters now posts a 2:02.703, slotting into third place.
He's a little off the pace of the frontrunners, but at least he's got a baseline now to work from.
Meanwhile, David Constable-Berry still hasn't registered a lap time. The clock is really running down now. Nigel Walters has dropped down to 5th position as other drivers improve their times.
This is where it gets interesting. Do you go for another flying lap, or bring it in and look at the data?
Daniel Koch is still without a time, under 3 minutes now in practice.
He needs to get out there. Even a slow lap is better than no lap at all for qualifying purposes.
Sam Zero puts in a 2:01.605. That's good enough for 4th place. Daniel Koch just has less than 2 minutes now, and is still without a recorded lap time.
This is crunch time. If you don't get a lap in now, you're going into qualifying blind, and that's never a good feeling.
Martin Mall still looking for his first time lap with just 5 minutes and 36 seconds on the clock. Down to just over 5 minutes now, and Neil Constable-Berry is yet to put a time on the board.
Sometimes you just need to feel the car out, especially if they've made setup changes. I've been there, taking my time to get that first clean lap in.
Daniel Kosis currently holding third position with a best time of 2:00.047 as the clock shows 4 minutes 32 seconds left.
That's a solid lap for third, but in practice you're always pushing to find those extra tenths. You know others will be doing the same.
Jimmy Lindo still without a timed lap with a precise 4 minutes now remaining in practice.
He needs to get a move on, even if it's just a shakedown lap. Understanding the track conditions is crucial before qualifying.
David Constable-Berry slots into third position with a 1:59.328, 3 minutes 28 seconds left on the clock. Sam Zero is yet to put a time on the board, with only 2 minutes and 56 seconds remaining in this practice session. Jareth Hallam moves into second place with a 1:58.997, just 2 minutes 24 seconds left to improve. Daniel Kosis has dropped down to 6th now with his 2:00.047 as we approach the final 2 minutes. Neil Constable-Berry finds some pace. A 2:00.830 puts him into 7th with a minute and 20 left.
He's finally on the board. Sometimes it takes time to find that rhythm, and now he has some data to work with.
Sam Zero finally puts in a lap. A 2:00.554, good enough for 8th as we count down to the final 48 seconds. David Constable Barry improves dramatically. A 158.251 puts him at the top with just 16 seconds to go.
That's how you do it, a last gasp effort to really set the benchmark. You have to push until the very last second in practice.
Jared Hallam now finding himself in fourth. His 158.997 not enough to hold the top spots with time almost gone.
He'll be disappointed to drop down like that, but it shows how quickly things can change on a hot lap. Everyone's finding time right now.
David Constable Barry still leads the pack with his impressive 158.251, 47 seconds left on the clock. John Bontakis is currently in 7th position, posting a 159.575 with just a minute and 19 remaining.
7th is okay, but you always want to be closer to the front in practice. That time will give him something to build on for qualifying.
Aiden McKenna is yet to register a timed lap with just a minute and 35 seconds left in this session.
He's really cut it fine. Without a timed lap, you go into qualifying a bit blind on current track conditions and car balance.
Jareth Hallam holds on to 4th position with his 158.997, 1 minute 46 seconds to run. Only 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this qualifying session, and Adam Tyus is still out there, yet to post a lap time.
He needs to get a clean run in now, no mistakes. That final setup lap and then pushing immediately is a real pressure point. I remember those frantic last moments.
And Rich Snape still hasn't registered a time either, with just 3 minutes and 48 seconds left on the clock for this session. Another driver without a time on the board is Josh Mitchell, cutting it very fine now with only 3 minutes and 16 seconds remaining. And Neil Constable Barry is still waiting to post a time. Only 48 seconds left in qualifying. This is going down to the wire.
This is where it gets incredibly tense. One mistake, one lockup, and your session is over without a time. It's a make or break lap now.
John Astrop sits in 5th position. His best lap, a 2:00.124, with just 33 seconds left in qualifying.
That's a solid time, but with others still pushing, he'll be hoping it's enough to stay in the top half of the grid.
Josh Mitchell still has no time on the board, and now only 19 seconds remain. This is a desperate situation for him. Aiden McKenna is another driver yet to post a time. Just 12 seconds left now. Aiden McKenna completes a lap, but it hasn't registered a time, keeping him in P22 with just 6 seconds left.
That's gutting. Whether it was a track limits violation or an error, to cross the line and not have it count is a tough pill to swallow, especially with time running out.
Phil Bodkin is currently P8 with a 1:59.788, but he's minus 0.18 seconds on his personal best, looking quicker on this lap.
This is it, pushing hard for that last improvement. Finding those tenths when the pressure is on feels like magic, but it's pure focus and risk.
Thomas Kruger Dorado still hasn't put a time on the board with just 1 minute and 9 seconds left in this session.
He's really leaving it late. Every second counts now. He needs to find clear air and extract everything from that car immediately.
Chris Stokes is in P5 with a 1:59.166, but he's already a significant 0.32 seconds up on that time with 1 minute 22 seconds remaining. Rich Snape currently in P16 with a 2:01.590, but he's flying on this lap already 1.1 seconds faster than his best.
That's a huge gain. He's found something extra on this run, maybe a better line, or finally got heat into the tires. If he holds it, that will be a significant jump.
Jimmy Lindo is P10 with a 159.749, but he's currently 0.15 seconds off that pace on his current lap. Maximilian Turbin holds P5 with a 158.886, but he's losing time on this current lap, 0.62 seconds down.
He might be backing off, or just not finding the rhythm this time around. Sometimes you just don't nail it twice in a row. It's a fine margin.
Martin Mall, the Dutchman in the Chevrolet Copa Montana, lines up on pole position for today's race. Alongside him on the front row, also in a Chevrolet Copa Montana, is Jody Fannin.
P2 is a great place to be, but you have to be careful not to get boxed in at the start, especially with a car like Mole's right next to you.
Jareth Hallam, the Pro-Am driver from the UK, starts from third, looking to challenge the front row. Chris Stokes completes the second row, also in a Chevrolet Copa Montana, another Pro-Class driver. Maximilian Turbin, an AM-Class driver, will be starting from fifth position. David Constable Barry, a Pro-Am driver, starts from sixth on the grid. Seventh place belongs to Dominic Fovarg, another Pro-Am class contender. And completing the top 8 starters, Thomas Kruger Dorado, another Pro-Am driver from the UK.
Eighth is a tricky spot. You're often in the middle of a lot of action into turn 1, needing a good read on the cars around you.
Phil Bodkin, an AM-Class driver, will be starting the race from 9th position. Rounding out our top 10 starters, Jimmy Lindo in 10th, another Pro-Am class driver.
From 10th, the goal is often just to get through the first lap cleanly, maybe pick up a couple of spots if the opportunity arises without taking unnecessary risks.
Daniel Kosick lines up in 11th, a Pro-Am driver from Hungary. John Astrup, the Pro-Class driver from New Zealand, starts from 12th.
He's definitely got the pace to move forward from there. I've started further back and still made it onto the podium. It's all about consistency and capitalizing on others' mistakes.
Rich Snape, an AM-Class driver from the UK, starts from unlucky 13th.
For an AM driver, avoiding trouble in the early laps is key from that position. It's easy to get caught up in battles you don't need to be in.
Nigel Walters, another AM-Class driver, will be starting in 14th position.
He'll be looking to make up some ground, but also needs to be mindful of his class rivals around him.
15th on the grid, Adam Tyus, an AM-Class driver from England. Darren Nickel takes up position 16, also an AM-Class driver. And Neil Constable Barry, an AM-Class driver, starts from 17th.
He's definitely got work to do from there, but a long race means there are always opportunities, especially with different strategies, potentially at play for the AM runners.
Sam Zero from the UK starts 18th. The lights are out, and we are racing. A clean getaway from the front row. Jody Fannin makes a fantastic start, taking the lead from Mull into turn 1.
That's what you want from P2. A strong launch, good positioning, and just enough aggression to muscle past without contact. It's all about that initial reaction.
Thomas Kruger Dorado has dropped a spot, now running 9th.
Sometimes you just get squeezed at the start. It's not always about making a mistake, but about where the gaps open and close around you.
Kruger Dorado has lost a place, now sitting in 9th. Nigel Walters has gained a spot, moving up to 13th. Nigel Walters improves his position, now running in 13th.
Every spot gained on the first lap is crucial, especially from the midfield. It puts you in cleaner air and away from the potential chaos.
I can't wait to see how this race will play out. Adam Tyus maintains his 15th position as we complete the first lap.
He's keeping it clean, which is important for an AM driver in these early stages. Staying out of trouble and finding your rhythm.
Jimmy Lindo has made a great move, now up to 7th and just a 10th behind Jareth Hallam for 6th. What a start we've had. The action really kicking off from the moment the lights went out.
Absolutely. Bunyan's move on Mall was textbook. You have to seize those opportunities immediately or they're gone.
Mall has to be frustrated, losing the lead so early after securing pole, but it's a long race.
It is. Often, a driver will push hard early, use up their tires, and then fade. Conserving for later can pay off big time. I've won races that way.
We're seeing some good recovery drives already, especially from those in the midfield trying to make up ground.
Yeah, it's about being patient, finding your rhythm, and not overdriving. Especially on these tires, every slide costs you grip down the line.
The Pro-Am and AM battles look particularly fierce, almost their own race within the race.
They really do. Sometimes the class battles are even more intense because drivers are so focused on their immediate rivals. Every point counts for those championships.
It's fascinating to watch the different strategies unfold, even in these early stages.
Absolutely. You're constantly weighing risk versus reward, thinking about what the car can do in 3 laps, 5 laps, the whole stint. It's a mental game as much as a physical one.
Maximilian Turbin is flying up to 4th place and only 3/10 off Jody Fannin.
That's an incredible start for an AM class driver, fighting with the pro drivers on the very first lap. He's clearly got confidence in the car right now.
Turbin has dropped back a little from Fannin, the gap now up to 6/10.
He might have just overcooked it a little, pushing so hard early. It's difficult to maintain that pace when you're on the limit, especially trying to pass a pro driver.
Chris Stokes has fallen back to 10th, now 2/10 behind Dominic Fovarg.
He's really lost ground from his grid slot. Something must have happened at the start, or he's just not found the rhythm yet.
Stokes has lost more ground, now 6/10 behind Fovarg, who's moved up to 8th. Turbin closes back up to Fannin, just 3/10 separate them for 3rd, and that's his best lap time. Maximilian Turbin has lost 3 positions, now down in 7th and over 6 seconds behind Jody Fannin.
Wow, that's a big drop. He must have made a significant error there, or run wide. You don't lose that much time in position without something going wrong.
Unbelievable. Maximilian Turbin has plummeted down the order, now in 16th place and almost 15 seconds off Fannin.
He's definitely had an issue. To lose that many positions and that much time, it's more than just running wide. Perhaps a spin or contact, but he's still running.
Phil Bodkin is up to 13th, just 3/10 behind Kruger Dorado for 12th. Bodkin makes the move. He's now 12th, just ahead of Thomas Kruger Dorado. Phil Bodkin continues his charge, up to 11th. Kruger Dorado is now 2/10 back in 13th.
He's really found his stride. This is where an AM driver can make a statement, pushing through the field with clean, consistent laps.
John Astrop is pushing, running 9th and just 2/10 behind Rich Snape for 8th. Astrop has lost a lot of ground to Snape, the gap now over 5 seconds as he remains in 9th. That was an incredible turn of events for Maximilian Turbin, plummeting from 4th to 16th. What could have happened there?
It had to be a significant moment, a spin, or perhaps a brief off-track excursion. When you lose that much time and positions so quickly, it's rarely just a bad lap. I've been there. A small mistake can have huge consequences.
And conversely, we've seen Phil Bodkin making steady progress, now up into 11th after starting 9th.
He's driving a really clean race. He's an AM driver, and he's not getting caught up in the big incidents, just finding the pace and making moves when they're on.
It really highlights how quickly fortunes can change in these races, even within a single lap.
Absolutely. You're constantly calculating, pushing the limits, and sometimes those limits push back. You have to be precise, especially when the field is this tight.
The front runners have settled a little, but the midfield is still a hive of activity.
That's often the case. Once the initial jostling is over, the leaders can stretch their legs, but everyone else is still fighting for every inch, especially with different class battles overlapping.
It's all about managing those tires and keeping cool under pressure for the next 14 minutes.
And not just tires, but fuel, brakes, and your own mental energy. It's a sprint, but also an endurance challenge for the drivers.
Darren Nickel has moved up to 12th, just 2/10 behind Thomas Kruger-Dorado for 11th.
He's made good progress from 16th on the grid. He's an AM driver, so passing a Pro-Am like Kruger-Dorado would be a great gain.
Huge trouble for Darren Nickel. He's dropped all the way to 17th, over 14 seconds behind Kruger-Dorado.
Oh, that's a massive loss of time and positions. We've seen a few drivers have similar issues today. It looks like he might have spun or had an excursion off track, but he's kept it going.
Adam Tyus is holding 15th, just a 10th of a second behind Sam Zero in 14th. Tyus makes the pass on Sam Zero. He's now up to 14th. Aiden McKenna is running in 16th, a solid 9-second gap back to Darren Nickel. McKenna maintains his position, but Nicole has closed the gap by a second to 8.1 seconds. James Garvach has moved into 11th, just a 10th, off Thomas Kruger-Dorado for 10th.
This is a great battle developing. Every 10th counts when you're fighting for position in the mid-pack like this.
Garvach has dropped to 12th, with Kruger-Dorado now 3/10 ahead in 10th. Phil Bodkin has lost positions and is now down in 15th, almost 4 seconds behind Sam Zero.
He had such good momentum earlier. This big gap suggests another incident has reshuffled the midfield significantly.
Martin Mole is now leading the race, pulling out a 3.6-second gap over David Constable-Berry.
He's really recovered from that early setback. That's a strong drive to not only regain the lead, but build a buffer like that. He clearly found his pace.
Mall is extending his lead, now 4.6 seconds ahead of Constable-Berry in second. Jody Fannin is holding third, just 4/10 behind Constable-Berry for second. It's not going to plan for Jody Fannin. They are still behind DCB, and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now.
Jody Fannin needs to pick up the pace, for sure, but I don't think they have it in them.
Martin Mole's recovery drive has been absolutely stunning. From losing the lead on lap 1 to now having a 4-second advantage, it's a testament to his focus.
It really is. Once you're pushed back, it's easy to get flustered, but he's kept his head down, found his pace, and just chipped away. Sometimes that's a harder drive than leading from the start.
On the other side, we've seen a couple of drivers like Turbin and Nicole drop significantly. It's such a fine line out there.
It truly is. One small error, a touch of oversteer, or a misjudgment, and suddenly you're offline, losing momentum, and the pack just swallows you up. I've had races turn on a dime like that.
The consistency from Constable-Berry and Fannin for second and third is impressive, holding that gap to Mole despite his dominant pace.
They're probably running their own race now, not pushing too hard to chase Mole down, but focusing on keeping each other honest. Third is still a podium, after all.
We're just over halfway now, with about 10 minutes plus the final lap remaining. Tire management will become critical.
Absolutely. Every lap now, the tires are degrading. Drivers will start feeling it, trying to manage understeer or oversteer. It's about preserving enough grip for that crucial final push.
And the class battles, especially for the AM drivers, are still raging further back in the field.
Those are often the most unpredictable. AM drivers are pushing their limits, and sometimes that leads to some fantastic overtakes, and sometimes it leads to more mistakes. It adds another layer to the race.
Jody Fannin remains in third, 0.6 behind David Constable Barry as the battle for second continues.
That gap is holding steady, which suggests both drivers are pushing hard. It's tough to make a move when your rival is matching your pace.
Fannin is closing the gap to Constable Barry, just 0.4 now, separating them for second. Adam Tyus is in 14th, almost 2 seconds behind Sam Zero now.
He's lost a little bit of ground there. The AM class battle is very fluid, positions can change quickly.
Tyus has fallen further back, now over 5 seconds adrift of Sam Zero. So Sky, considering the high speeds and split-second decision-making involved in racing, what's the impact of even a minor lapse in concentration?
A minor lapse in concentration can have significant consequences, Hal. It could lead to an off-track excursion, a loss of position, or even a collision. That's why it's crucial for drivers to stay focused and alert throughout the race.
Chris Stokes is up to 7th, just 0.2 behind Dominic Fovarg in 6th.
This is a great recovery for Stokes after that difficult start. He's really finding his stride now and putting pressure on Fovarg.
Stokes closes the gap even further. Now just a 0.1 separates him from Fovarg.
He's absolutely glued to the back of Fovarg now. We could see a move in the next corner. The slipstream will be a factor.
Rich Snape has moved up to 8th, just 0.2 behind Chris Stokes. Snape has dropped back a little, now half a second behind Stokes, who's moved up to 6th. Dominic Fovarg is now in 7th, with Rich Snape right on his tail, just a 10th behind.
This is an incredible fight for the mid-pack. It's a three-way battle almost, with Stokes just ahead. Every position matters out here.
Fovarg has edged out a small gap now, 0.4 ahead of Snape. Rich Snape is in 8th, still pushing hard, 0.3 behind Fovarg.
He's keeping the pressure on. One small mistake from Fovarg, and Snape will be through. This is great racing.
Snape has fallen back slightly from Fovarg, the gap now up to 0.7. Dominic Fovarg is running 7th, 0.3 behind Chris Stokes in 6th. The gap between Fovarg and Stokes has grown to half a second. Thomas Kruger Dorado is now 10th, just 0.4 off Daniel Kosick in 9th, and that's his best lap of the race. Kruger Dorado has closed up again, just 0.2 behind Kosick now.
He's really found some pace. You can tell he's pushing hard for that top 10 spot, trying to make the most of those final few minutes.
Dominic Fovarg is now 0.7 behind Chris Stokes in 6th position. Fovarg maintains that 0.7 gap to Stokes for 6th.
It's close but stable. It's tough to make up ground when both drivers are running such similar lap times, especially in the dirty air.
Thomas Krüger-Dorado continues to push, just 0.3 behind Daniel Kosick for 9th.
He's keeping the pressure on. Being in the slipstream like that, knowing you've just set your best lap, gives you a real mental boost for a potential overtake.
Krüger-Dorado has lost a 10th, now 0.4 behind Kosick.
It's so difficult to maintain that close pressure lap after lap. You're using a lot of mental and physical energy trying to stay on the bumper.
Jimmy Lindo is in 5th, 0.7 off Jareth Hallam for 4th, setting his best lap of the race. Lindo has closed the gap to Hallam, now just half a second separates them for 4th. Jody Fannin is holding strong in 3rd, 0.5 behind Constable Barry for 2nd. Fannin is back within 0.4 of Constable Barry for 2nd place.
He's definitely making a late race charge. This is where tire management from earlier in the race really pays off.
You know, Sky, as a former racing driver yourself, can you give us some insights into what goes through a driver's mind during these quieter moments in a race?
Sure, Hal. During these moments, drivers often take the opportunity to assess their race strategy, monitor their car's performance, and plan their next move. It's all about staying focused and finding the right time to strike.
Jimmy Lindo continues to reel in Jareth Hallam, the gap for 4th, now just 0.4.
He's really on a charge. That fastest lap he set earlier is paying dividends. He's carrying serious momentum into these final stages.
Lindo makes the move. He's up to 4th, half a second now separating him from Hallam. Thomas Krüger-Dorado is right on the back of Daniel Kosick again, just 0.2 off 9th. Krüger-Dorado has lost a couple of tenths to Kosick, the gap for 9th, now 0.4. Jareth Hallam is fighting back. He's just 0.2 behind Jimmy Lindo for 4th.
This is an immediate response from Hallam. He's not letting Lindo get away easily. It's a real dogfight for that 4th spot.
Hallam reclaims 4th. Just a 10th separates him from Lindo now.
Incredible! That's a perfect example of how quickly positions can change hands. Lindo made the move, but Hallam regrouped and fired straight back.
Lindo takes 4th back immediately. They are side by side. No gap at all. Jimmy Lindo is in 5th, 0.3 behind Jareth Hallam, who's just reclaimed 4th. Lindo also set his best lap.
This is an unbelievable back-and-forth battle. They are trading blows, lap after lap, finding every ounce of pace left in their tires.
Hallam has edged out a small buffer, 0.5 ahead of Lindo for 4th. Thomas Krüger-Dorado is now in 11th, a commanding 8.7 seconds ahead of Adam Tyus. Krüger-Dorado has lost a place, now in 12th, and is right on the bumper of Adam Tyus.
He's made a mistake somewhere, losing that big gap to Tyus, and now finding himself in a direct battle. You have to wonder about the tires at this point.
Krüger-Dorado has plummeted to 13th, over 2 seconds behind Adam Tyus. Jody Fannin remains in 3rd, but the gap to Constable Barry has grown to 0.7. The gap between Fannin and Constable Barry for 2nd is stable at 0.7.
It looks like Constable Barry has just enough to hold him off for now. These are the crucial laps. Nobody wants to break cover too early.
Jimmy Lindo is in 5th, 7/10 off Jareth Hallam for 4th. Lindo is closing again, now just 5/10 behind Hallam for 4th.
This battle is relentless. They're both giving absolutely everything, lap after lap, trading milliseconds. It's a fantastic display of commitment.
We often hear drivers complaining about tire graining. Sky, can you explain what that means and how it affects car handling?
Graining occurs when small rubber particles roll up on the tire's surface, reducing grip and negatively affecting handling. It usually happens when the tires are not in their optimal temperature window, or when a driver is pushing too hard on a cold or overworked tire.
Thomas Kruger-Dorado is now in 14th, 4/10 behind Sam Zero, and that's a very slow lap time for him. Kruger-Dorado has made up a spot. He's now 13th, just ahead of Sam Zero.
Despite that slow lap, he's found a way to get back past Zero. That shows real determination, even when things aren't going perfectly.
Kruger-Dorado has lost the position again, now back to 14th, and over 2 seconds behind Sam Zero.
This is tough for him. It seems like he's battling something on the car, or perhaps just running out of tire. You don't see such swings in performance otherwise.
Jody Fannin closes to just 2/10 behind Constable Barry for 2nd. That's his best lap of the race. The gap for 2nd is back out to 3/10 between Fannin and Constable Barry.
It's a dance, isn't it? Fannin pushes, Constable Barry responds. Neither wants to give an inch this close to the finish.
Rich Snape is in 6th, 8/10 behind Jimmy Lindo for 5th.
He's consistent, but Lindo is just holding that gap, almost like a safety buffer in case Snape finds an extra bit of pace.
Snape maintains the 8/10 gap to Lindo for 5th. Martin Mall is absolutely dominating this race, just 20 seconds from the checkered flag and a massive 10.2 seconds ahead of Constable Barry.
He's just managing the gap now. From here, it's all about bringing the car home cleanly. A perfect example of maintaining focus even with a big lead, something I always tried to master.
Martin Mol crosses the line, a dominant victory for the Dutchman. David Constable Barry takes 2nd place, a fantastic drive from 6th on the grid. Jody Fannin secures the final podium spot, crossing the line in 3rd. Jareth Hallam takes 4th, with Jimmy Lindo rounding out the top 5 after their incredible battle. Rich Snape finishes 6th, Chris Stokes 7th, and Aiden McKenna comes home in 18th.
Every point matters, and to bring the car home in those positions, especially after such a demanding race, is an achievement in itself.
Dominic Fovarg takes 8th, and Daniel Kosick crosses the line in 9th position. Josh Mitchell rounds out the top 10 finishers for today's race. John Astrop crosses the line in 17th. Adam Tyus comes home in 11th place.
He had some ups and downs in that race, but ultimately brought it home for a solid finish outside the top 10.
James Garbach takes the checkered flag in 12th position. Sam Zero crosses the line to finish in 13th.
He had some close battles out there today and will be happy to see the flag after such an intense race.
Maximilian Turbin brings home 14th. Thomas Kruger-Dorado finishes his race in 15th position. Phil Bodkin crosses the line to take 16th place.